Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the words of the HaChaim in the Sefer HaMitzvos HaKatzar, and we're still in Mitzvah Kuf Lamed Beis, number 132. Mitzvah's loisase, the negative commandment, shalolava el anida, a prohibition of not having relations with a woman that is in nida, which means she got her period, her menstrual cycle, and did not purify herself properly in the mikveh. V'yoledis, a woman that has given birth, Timeya l'bayla kinida. She is also ritually impure to her husband, just like a woman that has gone into nida. The blood itself for a woman that has given birth is coming from the rechem, it's coming from the womb, and just like the menstruation blood comes from the womb as well, which renders a woman nida, so too over here. Even if this woman miraculously would not have seen any blood at the time that she gave birth, Tameya, she still remains impure, because we assume that there must have been blood. Somehow it was not seen, but it's only natural that there's going to be blood, and also once that the rechem, once that the womb opens up and the baby comes out, that itself creates a level of tuma, of the spiritual impurity. Ben yolda chai, ben yolda nefel, whether the child was born alive, which means that it was a viable birth, or Rahman al-Itzlan, Yolda Nefil, whether the woman ended up miscarrying and the child was born stillbirth or not alive, says the Horowitz, either way, once that the child has passed down through the canal over there, the birthing canal of the rechem of the womb, so then whatever blood there is rendering her tameya, impure. In our lands, in our place, liachar Shiva Yomim Lezacha ve'arba'asa lenekeva, after she waits 7 days from having a boy, or 14 days from having a girl, im tahara midam, if she would be tahor, she would have no more blood. Tu chalasa is bedikas hefsek tahara, she would be allowed to do what's called the hefsek tahara, where she does an internal checking with what we call a bedika cloth, a special cloth used to check herself. And she sees that through the hefsek tahara she has no blood. The taschel lisva shiva nekim, she can then begin counting the 7 clean days that will lead her to the mikveh. And after counting 7 clean days, where she does the internal examination every day with these bedika cloths, and she doesn't have any blood, then she's able to go to the mikveh umuteras labayla, and she'd be permissible then to be with her husband. So we're saying over here that if the Mitzvah, if the reality of the woman would be that she gives birth to a boy, and 7 days later, after the birth, she stops bleeding already, or 14 days later after a girl, she stops bleeding already, she can then prepare herself for these 7 clean days and then go to the mikveh afterwards. It doesn't usually work out like that. The nature of the woman is not such. Normally it takes much longer than 7 or 14 days for the dam, for the blood to stop flowing from the rechem, from the womb after childbirth or even after miscarriages. And therefore, a woman who finds herself in the situation of after childbirth should not anticipate being able to go to the mikveh so quickly. Rather, it's going to be a much longer wait of time, usually in the minimum a month, and sometimes a maximum even up to 2 months, depending on the way that the woman's body responds to childbirth itself. And if she goes to the mikveh, and then she's already together with her husband, and at some point she sees blood afterwards, she becomes prohibited to her husband like any other woman. She means that she basically, we call it, she went into nida. A husband who ends up having relations with a woman who just gave birth, before she ended up going to the mikveh, so it's like a man who has relations with a woman that's in nida, and we said yesterday that both the man and the woman, achayev kares, they both are going to be spiritually cut off as a result. So these are very delicate halachas and very important halachas to know in order for a man and a woman, a husband and a wife, to save themselves from the terrible issur, the prohibition of kares, of being cut off. Have a wonderful day, and there's still more to see in the laws of Nida.